Hello everyone and welcome to another Packard video. Today I'm going to be showing how to remove the vibration dampener. Removal of the vibration dampener is a critical step in many major engine service procedures. In other words, not for minor engine service, but for big things. For example, if you remove that and the cover behind it, then you can access your timing chain, timing gears, your fuel pump eccentric. There's also the camshaft thrust plate. People will often modify the camshaft thrust plate in a specific way to reduce the oil consumption of the engine. So if that's not been done on your engine and you have low oil pressure, especially at idle when it's hot, then that can be a common service item. So what you first need to do is loosen up this bolt. If you have an automotive grade impact, then you can probably just blast it off with that. However, if you don't, then you have to get creative. Now, normally, if you have just the engine out of the car, you have your flex plate back here, or your flywheel if it's a manual. A lot of times you can just kind of bolt something, not to these bolts, but you have holes here where you can bolt some scrap metal to or something and use it to pry against the rotational force. You can also, for example, down here, obviously you don't want to be touching the polished parts, but the camshaft casting, you can put a block of wood in between that and the motor casting, between that and the short block, and then keep the camshaft from, the crankshaft, from rotating in that manner. However, I still have the Ultramatic on the back of this one, and the park does not work, though it wouldn't even matter if the park worked on, for this type of thing, because the park only locks the output shaft. So what I did is just grabbed a gigantic C-clamp with this thing on it, and then used against my pallet here. If you have an engine that is locked up, then you can do that with the caveat of you might damage something, and also it needs to be locked up in a specific way. It has to be that what am I trying to say? I meant to say cylinders, but I meant pistons have to be locked up. If you have a stuck valve, then that is not recommended. So even if your engine is stuck, unless it is completely frozen stuck, then if it only rotates some, that could be because you have a stuck valve. You don't want to try and damage that. You want to have this clamped down in some way, as if the engine were a normal, spins all the way over engine. But anyway, so I already got this loose with a breaker bar and this C-clamp set up here. So I can remove this all the way. What you want to do is get a bunch of washers that go into your 1 1/16 socket. So I think these are 3/8, but it's just whatever fits in here nicely. What we are going to do is use this. So we remove the washer. We can thread this back in, and now it's worth noting you can buy or borrow from auto parts stores a vibration dampener remover, like a puller for this vibration dampener. Now, normally it's not too difficult. You just have to put down a deposit equal to the price of the tool set that they are loaning you, and then when you bring it back, they just give you the deposit back. However, if you're just trying to get stuff done, a lot of times this can be just as simple to do it with this method. What we're doing here is we're just taking a scrap piece of angle iron and 2 C-clamps. If you don't have angle iron, then usually you can use like a 4x4. I wouldn't use a 2x4. That is going to be a little bit too not strong enough. So we want to thread this back in most of the way. And then what we want to do is take our socket and then just stack a bunch of washers in it. What I'm trying to do is get the washers stacked high enough where the remaining space is roughly the same length as the bolt head. So I can just stick this on there. Now you can see that this sticks out. Now for this initial pull where this is stuck on the hardest, you want to have this threaded back in most of the way, or at least like halfway. So you got a lot of threads there, a lot of engagement. Right, back again here. I got my big C-clamp off. Sorry, my tone is a little more lethargic today, but it's hot out and I actually just got this whole engine pulled out of the car about half an hour ago. So yeah, I'm just a little bit tired. So what we want to do, and this is kind of a three-handed setup, so you might want to have a buddy with you, but you can do it by yourself, is you want to stick your socket on there and get your seat clamps applied on there also. So I'm just on camera, I'm just kind of loosening this here. I think that button's broken on this one. So we got C-clamp number 1 on there. That's just about right. Let that hang down. And then I forgot to loosen this one up too. So I think from here it's, whoops, this one is almost off. Yeah, that would have slipped off and flew in somebody's face. And by somebody's face, I mean my face or your face. So we got both of our C-clamps set up. Let me zoom out a little bit. So now we can just crank down on these until this pops off. There we go. It popped off, but these are not really on a tapered shaft, it's on a straight shaft. So even when it pops the first time, it's still not off. It's only a little bit off. So we just got to keep cranking on both sides. And eventually the socket's going to bottom out. So we have the fun task of basically redoing all this. All right, so we can reposition ourselves. One, we can stick just a few more washers in here, even though that will make it harder to get on because it won't stick on by itself. And the other thing we can do is loosen up our bolt here. I'm not sure how much engagement you really need to not damage things, but I would thread it in, yeah, a couple turns like that. That's honestly probably good. And then I'll have to loosen up my clamps again here. So I thought that would be enough, but now I got these basically stacked all the way to the edge, just the slightest amount to kind of index it in place there. Let me go one less, so it'll stick on. Whoops. And then this one is only screwed in by, let's see, about one turn there. But it takes so little force to actually get this thing out at this point that that's not going to be a problem. You're not going to damage anything. You're going to get used to dropping washers. There we go. Now we have our whole vibration dampener out. We can take our bolt here. I'll just hold it up to the camera. Come on. In case anyone comments, well, you're damaging your threads. Look at this. It ain't damaged. This is brand new looking. Obviously, this is the same here. And that's about it. So, as you can see, it really ain't too painful. Only takes maybe 10-15 minutes or something, which is a lot less time than driving to the auto parts store to rent a puller, and it'll still take you 5 or 10 minutes to get it off. So I hope you appreciate this knowledge, and thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Appreciate you watching, and if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below. Please leave a like and subscribe if you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, and I'll catch you later.